Welcome back, and we have our wonderful guest with us today, Leah Chikumbindi. Welcome, Miss Leah.
Thank you so much for having me here, ladies. I'm so glad to get to meet you all and to be part of your show today.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And I know that you've been in Dallas for a while now.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I know you have a Girls Foundation that you run.
That's correct.
Also, can you tell us a little bit about your journey here to the U.S. and your Girls Foundation?
Absolutely. To begin with, I was born and raised in Zimbabwe, where most of you are from.
Right.
And I did my education there and grew up in a family where Christianity was the basic religion that we knew. Mm-hmm. And so that was part of who I am growing up. And so at age 13, I was living with my brother in the city and his wife, and my life kind of took a turn at that point. Mm-hmm. And I was molested while I was living with my brother there, but it was within the four walls of the house and nobody did know about it. Mm-hmm. I did not share about it with the fear of, am I going to be believed? Mm-hmm. Is this my fault? And I was even threatened that if you tell anybody, nobody's going to believe you. Mm. So I suffered through that from 7th grade till I was in Form 2. Okay. And I was able to remove myself from that. And so that changes who you are.
Oh, yes.
That changes the trajectory of your life. But right. You don't know at that point that this is changing me. Mm-hmm. Because you're forced to be a woman mm-hmm. before you are. Yeah. And it affected my self-esteem and my trust with people. Mm. And there wasn't all those lines of communication that I think I could have gotten to be able to say what was going on. Mm. So that's what shaped the ministry, and just to give you a little bit of that. But when I was 17, I became a Christian. Okay. So there's something different about being raised in a Christian home and becoming a Christian.
Right.
So there's one time where there was a conference that was taking place at the American Center in Dallas, and it was the Women of Faith conference. Okay. And it was my first time signed up. I did not sign up because we didn't have the money for me to sign up. So. But everybody there was in the church, the women in this group, they were going. And so my husband came home. It was on a Wednesday when this conference was starting. And so he came home after work on that Friday night and he said, you need to dress up, make sure you look good, and we want to go somewhere. And I'm thinking, where am I going? And at that time with the younger one, the third child, she was about 6 months. And so we went down to Dallas. And he said, go to that booth and see if there's some tickets for the conference. And I said, okay, he gave me the money. I'm just going there. And they said the tickets are out. Mm. So as I was walking back, and the lady called me back, she said, okay, come back. There's somebody who left this ticket. Wow. And it was a VIP ticket.
Oh.
Okay. So here I am walking into this American Line Center, and I'm being escorted because I have a VIP ticket. Okay. And I'm hearing this young, petite lady. She's not very young, but she was a petite lady, very energetic. And it was Patty Clement welcoming all the women to the conference. And she was saying, you're welcome. And she's saying, you're welcome. And I am walking in. Yeah. And I'm being escorted to my VIP seat. She said, welcome to the Women of Faith conference. You've been juggling work during the day, trying to make sure the dinner is ready. You leave everything in place to be here. And I'm feeling
like she's talking to you.
She's talking to me, and I'm feeling so different. Yeah. And then as I sit there, I'm listening to those ladies sharing their stories and their journeys, and I am so wowed. I'm connecting with them, but this one woman connected with me in a very different way, and it was Sheila Walsh's testimony. And this is a woman who is famous. She has everything. She has the money. She is somebody. She's a speaker. She's a writer. She has everything going on. And she was feeling so empty. She had all the past of abuse and all kinds of situations, and I could relate.
Yeah. So hearing her story, did that help you with your healing?
It helped me in every way, because her last words were, "You are a daughter of a king."
That's right.
At one time, she wanted to end her life. She stood on the bridge in Wales, and she wanted to end it all. And I was there at some point. Because I had so much baggage, and there was no end to the pain. And this is a woman who had everything. I didn't have as much as she had, but she wanted to end it all. And she had God tapping on her shoulder that, "You are my princess." And I did not know that about God, that He looks at me like that. And it was my message. I was bawling. And by the time I was done there that night, I said, I want to go back to Zimbabwe and tell every little girl, whether they're molested, whatever the situation is, I want them to know that they are daughters of a king and they are a princess. And if they can know that at the youngest age, it will shape their future.
So what's the name of your foundation again?
It's called Set Apart Global Ministries, but that's what it is now.
Right.
But it started as Girls Set Apart Ministries. Girls Set
You
Apart.
started specifically targeting to girls, but I did see that you've now opened it up to young boys as well.
Absolutely. And that I never knew that was going to be. That we're going to have boys in there, because I don't know how to minister to boys. We have a son, but I'm a mother and everything else, but that's all I knew. But as far as ministering to boys, I didn't have a story.
Right.
But until last year, a little boy came to me, and I've always had that, when mothers say, "Okay, you have all these girls, you're ministering. What about the boys? What do we do with the boys?" And I'm like, if ever we have anybody who is good in doing that, will support, will help, give them the resources.
Right.
And I heard that many times. Until last October, a little boy came to an event that we had a gala, and it was no children at that event, but that's what we said on the invitation. Here, this little boy, he came to me and he said, and he was 9, and he said, "Well, boys are cool too. You only do Princess in me, but we can have Prince in me." Oh, and I was like, God, what are you saying?
Yeah.
I struggled with that, hearing that voice for 2 nights. And I said, God, I can't stop that anymore. It's going to happen, but you're going to provide the man.
That's right.
You're going to provide the man. We will do whatever we have to do. It's going to be. So we sat with our board and talked about that, and then we said, okay, it can no longer be Girls Set Apart Ministries. We still have that part, Girls Set Apart. We still have that. We still have the Princess in Me. But let's do this combined, that our ministry is Set Apart Global Ministries.
Be more inclusive.
Yes. So that has changed a whole lot, in the sense that we're able to minister to a family.
Right.
That's good. Yeah.
We are able to minister to a family.
And earlier in this episode, we talked about how we're raising kids in a digital era, right? And you do a lot of work ministering to young kids. And I wonder, what advice or words do you have for parents who are raising kids who can often sometimes have everything, all the gadgets, all the clothes, all the this, all the that, but sometimes feel empty too, because they're turning to social media, comparing themselves to others who seem like they have way more. And oftentimes kids have this sense of emptiness too, because the world is so superficial in a lot of ways. So I wonder, what advice or words can you share with parents who are raising kids in this era?
And what I do see also with the problem is it has become a problem for everybody.
Yes.
Parents
Not just kids.
have been also consumed in that, and at some point, I fall victim to that too. But at the back of our minds as parents, we should know that we are the leaders, we are the parents, we are in charge. Whatever we are bringing to our kids, are we telling them how to use those things? Are we giving the opportunity to use them and to withdraw from that? Because sometimes, most of the time, I've noticed that too, kids it becomes part of what they have to do, so that the parents don't get bothered.
Right.
You know, so at what point do you say it's enough? And that way you can have those open lines of communication. Because even though when the time I grew up, we didn't have all those things.
Right.
But I don't think there was those dialogues where we can sit down and talk about whatever is happening. But that was the time. That's all they could do. But here now, we are living in a different era where we have to pay more attention to what is happening. I tell you, every time there is always something that is popping up on the screen for a child. And even as an adult, you're going to be tempted to just say, click, and that's how you're gone. So the same thing for our kids. Let's pay more attention. Let's have those lines of communications open. Talk to the child. Like when, now we have 3 kids, and 2 of them are in college, and we have one in the home. As soon as she gets in the car, I'm asking questions. How are you? How was your day? And then sometimes, she's so done with school, and I'm asking questions over it. Oh yeah.
I'm like, take your headphones out. Let's talk to you.
And I'm like, how was your day? And she's so much of an introvert. I have to get it out of her. So I'm asking, how was your day? Good. Did you have a good time in class? It's one with the answers. But I'm keep on throwing it. I keep on throwing it to her, so that we can have that communication. So try by all means. And taking the gadgets away sometimes is not enough. But have some time limits.
No, I think what you said is very, very essential. Just, it may not have to be a no cell phone free zone, but maybe just setting the boundaries in each person's household to make sure that the technology doesn't lead, or the technology doesn't parent
or dictate
the household, or dictate the household. Can you tell us a little bit more about your book? I know, where can people buy your book? I know you have some books available. I know we're going to share some with us, so we're excited to read them. Can you tell us a little bit more about the book and where we can get the book?
Yes, I wrote this book in 2014, but basically it's from my journey that we took together as a family. Our daughter, who is our middle child, she fell sick in 2009 of the swine flu.
Oh my goodness!
And it was a very scary time. So this book shares from the beginning, when she started falling sick. She went to a youth church camp, and she came back sick. But she was just a strong child, so we did not really pay much attention. Now, I was Dr. Mom. I'm still Dr. Mom.
Doctors.
So we're doing the home remedies and everything else. We took her to the doctor, and they said, it was a virus, but it turned out that she had the swine flu. So it was very, very tough time. She was medically induced coma, so that she can be treated. But it was, at one time, she would be resuscitated, and but I remember, going in the very first days, I'm just seeing her lying down there like there was no life. And I'm sitting by her side, and I am just crying and say, get up, please. Your kids become your supporters. And here I am in this room. And so, fast forwarding, there were moments God was so real. And, he really told me that she's going to be okay through one of the nurses. But that's when I started journaling while I was in there. And I said, I will never shed a tear. Because sometimes when I was shedding these tears, I would be so upset with the enemy. And I'm just shouting and screaming at the enemy. And then I end up, I'm praying. And then I told myself, I'm not going to cry again. I'm not going to shed a tear. And I'm not going to allow anybody who come into this room. So we made a promise, me and my husband, that anybody who comes into this room, we're not going to cry. You're not going to have a sad face, because she's going to feel it. So there was hope in there, but it's because of the support that we were having from the community, from the church, and that supported us in a whole big way. So as I shared every step of the way, as I was journaling, there were moments that I knew God was real. We knew that God was real, but I could not even remember one verse from the Bible.
Oh.
I could not remember. And I remember at one time she had come out of the coma, and I was sitting there to see her vital signs dropping.
Wow.
And I'm holding her hand, I'm asking, "You okay?" She says, "Okay," but they were just dropping. And I'm seeing everybody, the nurses, the doctors were just rushing in there. Within a short time, I was told to go up. And the nurses were writing the vital signs, the doctors were giving orders, and I'm there. And in that moment, I was taken away to how I see God rushing to my rescue. He's got all these angels. He's giving instructions, do this, and I'm just there. And that ministered to me in a whole different way too. That when we are in our deepest, darkest moments, God is there.
Right.
He shows up. Even though we cannot recite even one Bible verse,
He knows our heart.
the Holy Spirit flows for us.
Yeah.
So that's the journey that I shared in there, and it led into us after she got well. It led us to having lose our home and being homeless for about a week. But God is a restorer. This all did not matter. We had our child. But at the same time, the story in there, the book is entitled "In the Valley with Jesus." No matter what valley is, we had our valley with my husband in our marriage.
Right.
And when you're in the valley, you don't know you're in the valley. You're just hurting.
Right.
You're just hurting. And I'm going to come back to where you can find the book. The valley that we were in, it was in 2013, between 2010 and 2015, I lost my father, my brother, my sister, and that's when I shared the story also about the molestation. As I was feeling being led to start this ministry, to really physically start the organization. And I was broken for the pain, and the time now I knew that God really wanted me to start this ministry. And I said, God, I do not even want to share the story. I can just minister to people like I'm doing, right now, but I don't want to share the story because of the intensity of it. But he said, it's not your story, it's my story. Right. But here I'm also going through pain. I'd written this book because it was therapeutic for me to get past that. And then I've lost all these other family members, and I am bringing this story out, and I had to share that with my family. And it was difficult. The fear of not sharing the molestation at the time became the reality. Right. That I didn't be believed. And I questioned the reactions. I mean, I had support, I'd say 1%. What I can say to people is when somebody tells you their hurts, their pain, or if they are molested, especially that part. I understand we're going through the Me Too movement now. People are sharing stories from way back when. If you don't have that experience, and if you don't know what to say, don't say anything.
Okay. Yeah, don't judge it. Yeah, I think that is very, very insightful. And thank you so much for writing the book. I know it was therapeutic for you, but I know it can give hope to someone else's story. Thank you so much for joining us on our show. Your story has just kind of given us a new light on believing victims and making sure that their voices are heard, and knowing that we are daughters and sons, of the King. And yes. So if you guys want to learn more about her charity, please make sure you follow the website down below, and make sure you comment and give us your feedback about your stories. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll catch you on Hot Topics.